Flight boss, bitch. For sure. Listen to the Planetary's moon. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And we're going to talk about how to tell if you are around a very low vibrational person or low vibrational people. You see what I'm saying? Spirit swimming. Spirit swimming. And that's what seeing is. Spiritual swimming. So that's what seeing is. But for the most part, we're going to get into this motherfucking video right now. Now check this out. Because look, the reason why I'm making this video, and I know you probably looking at it like, well, we all know what being low vibrational is. But, as Archangel Uriel, I like to look at the root of things. And this video is not really about low vibrational people itself. It's really about you understanding the boundaries and the limits within that spectrum. Here's what I mean by that, right? Because look, there's a lot of sciences and teachings out there that teach you about low vibration. So you get these examples, right? And then you might be around someone who, to you, they are examples of someone vibing high. But you're not understanding that sometimes we are lost into an illusion. The things that this person may be manifesting in their life may be things that you look at as high vibrational. But that person themselves may be a low vibrational person within that spectrum, within that space, within those circumstances and situations in order to manifest what you want in the first place. Here's what you need to understand. When we talk about manifesting don't come from high vibrational energy. Manifesting comes from low vibrational energy, all the way till you get to the physicality of it, of sex. But the joining of two energies to create another one always is an add-on. That is not subtracting. That is not the art of deduction. That is adding on. So anytime something is added on, go get a motherfucking bucket and start filling it up with water. You're adding water in it. What happens to the bucket? It becomes more heavy, more dense, more condensed, and then the realm of reality within it becomes more of a realm of reality. Can appear to be more solid to the molecules and the beings that's in it, and the parasites that's in it. So for the most part, this is what you need to understand. Any form of manifesting come from low vibrational energy. So do not get lost into the illusion just because you see somebody accumulating a lot of the things that you want, and you think that you have to do what they have to do in order to get these things. Then when you get on the internet and look at all these sciences about low vibration and high vibration, you would get lost into the spectrum of men and women philosophical points of views of what they think low vibration is, and then you would take that knowledge and science and then you won't add that to this person because you think this person got everything that you want. So you looking at low vibration of what you being taught, and you like, okay, this person can't be vibing low because they got what I want. And then you will end up being lost and spiritually doing low vibrational shit because you're lost into thinking that those examples in that person ain't low vibrational. So that's what this channel is about. The subconscious. I got to get in the root of the human psyche. You know what I'm saying? Because once you explain the root of shit, then you start to see where I'm coming from. Why things do be so important. Me making this video, how to see if you're around low vibrational people. Now, like I said, that's why I had to break all that down, because everybody talk about low vibration, high vibration, so you think it's something simple, and now it's always something behind the scenes. That's what this channel is about. So alright, now check this out. Now, when we're talking about how you know you are around low vibrational people, this is spirit swimming. Your spirit swims into all your chakras. Remember, you created your solar system. You created your wheels, your chakra wheels, your influences, your fluids. So when your spirit swim through one of these chakras, that be the realm of reality you pay attention to. Because your spirit is no thing, no shape and form. So it keep creating chakras and shapes and forms and fluids. Right? So these are worlds, realms of realities. So when your spirit swim, it gets to see that current event. So you have lower chakras and you have higher chakras. So when your spirit swims into your lower chakras, you start to pay attention to your sexual habits, or you start to pay attention to material things that can be materialized externally, that you can give birth to, whether that's a person, place, or thing. All these are 4th, 5th, and 6th dimensional aspects you need to understand when you're spiritually swimming through these ones. Willpower, passion, pain, love, appreciation, resonating and relating. All these things is when you are spiritually swimming down here in this area of the body. by your sexual organs and your legs. The legs is the ability to travel. You know what I'm saying? You wanting to get up and rise above your circumstances. So you're being in all your lower animalistic natures when you're in your feet, when you're in your kneecaps, when you're in your shins, when you're in your thighs, when you're in your sexual organs. Now, when you start to rise up into this area, where the heart and all these chakras that get derived from, and organs and shit that get derived from, spiritually traveling through here, right? You end up paying attention to things that correlate to what feels familiar to you. You know what I'm saying? Things that resonate with you. Now, these is not backed and supported by the lower chakras. This is between. The middle chakras help balance out the higher and the lower runs. See, once you start to get into, once you're familiar with and things of that nature and the shit that you resonate with, a lot of things that you're familiar with ain't shit that you necessarily hate. Ain't shit that you really necessarily passionate about. Ain't shit that you necessarily love. Ain't shit that you necessarily want to communicate with. Because the things that you're familiar with is just things that you're familiar with. And so you could be biased or unbiased. So like I said, reason why I brought up ain't shit you necessarily love or hate or shit you necessarily want to relate to, because those are more lower chakra things. Once you get right here, you pay attention to more reasoning and more what makes you feel comfortable. So anytime your spirit is traveling within your heart space, you're in a circumstance or a situation where you want to pay attention to spaces and location that represent the energy signature of feeling comfortable, or something that represents familiarity, whether that's a person, place, or thing. So keep that in mind. Now, once you start to get up into the throat chakra and then these chakras up here and then the crown chakra, right? Then you're starting to get spiritually up into your imagination. Now, this one is more for communicating. So not more as so much as relating like the lower ones, where you relate your communication. So you take a higher chakra and bring it down to the lower chakra. So now you're relating what you're communicating. But once you just get to the communication, this is the ability to communicate in general. Your value, your values, your voice box, and all the beings that's in there. So once you spiritually give life to all of them, give them the spirit, right? Once you jump into these chakras that you have created, right, you're more thinking about communicating with yourself. And you ever talked yourself out of a circumstance or a situation, right? You ever had somebody who came around you was like, oh shit, I gotta deal with this person, but you came up with the idea and imagination of how to deal with them, right? Because you was talking to yourself. Your spirit was traveling in this area. Like, you could sit back and, when y'all meditate, sit there and really pay attention to everything that's going on. You'll be able to see exactly what I'm talking about. You'll be able to separate your spirit from the body and be able to be like, oh, okay, I'm just moving around. Like, you will really be able to do that. And I'm trying to show you how. So, you ain't even got to be meditating. You already know, once you start talking to yourself and shit like that, your spirit is in this area when you're communicating with yourself. You see what I'm saying? Now, once you start to reach up into this area, right? This is just the area of visions. So now you're starting to see all your visions. So you're not necessarily communicating with yourself like, should I do this or shouldn't do that? It's lighter. It didn't reach heavier yet to get into those circumstances to have those imaginations. It's lighter. So now you're just seeing these visions for what they are. You're not even trying to make sense out of them. So with this one, boom, you're seeing your shit. You know what I'm saying? You're having your visions. Right or wrong, they're your visions that match closer to your true state of being, your soft spots, your lightest cloths that you created for yourself, your chakras to come into this realm that you created for yourself. So it's tapping into those ones. So those ones is your visions. The first lights you went into that you felt comfortable with it, whether it's right or wrong to anyone else. This is your imagination and shit like that. You tap into there. Then, once you get to the Merkaba chakra, the crown chakra, right? That's the one you can travel through. So y'all ever had imaginations? You ain't just imagining. You ain't just daydreaming. You didn't just astral project. You actually traveling through that. You actually experiencing that now. You actually almost could fall asleep if you go too far into it. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, boom. That's your traveling one. That's your Merkaba, back into your moon one. Your solar plexus down here and your moon one is up here. But your moon created the heart one and all these ones and started rotating with each other. So the sun, like the moon and it's like they're in the same area except Mars, Venus, and like them chakras go diagonally. Like everything is making you a circle whole, but each star is in its own position. So if, say for an example, right? Mars is correlated and got derived, that those stars and organs and the baphomets got derived out of your root chakra. So boom, you got Mars right here, right? But then it's a current spiral, and the current spiral is in this direction. So it's circling like this. So Mars ruler is this house and this house, and then motherfucking this house. You see what I'm saying? So this house right here is the sexual organs. That will be Scorpio. This house right here is the head. This will be the first house, Aries. So Mars does that. This is Mars home itself. So Mars is really just one thing, and it's just got a current flow. And then it has a feminine side to the flow, and it has a masculine side to the flow, because we gave it that because we're smaller to it. So we're just piecing out it one thing, really. Just like all the fire, all the water signs is one thing. We just piece it out. So we look at the transition. So we got the cardinal transition of water, then we got the fixed transition of it, and then we got the mutable transition of it, right? And then we just pieced it up. We called the cardinal of it, we called the wave coming in, boom, we called that Cancer. We called the water condensing and freezing, we called that Scorpio. We called the water, but it's all the same, but we piece it out because we're smaller than that realm. You get what I'm saying? So so Mars, home. Mars is just home. Mars is just in this space spiraling. But the way we piece it out is the masculine portion of it will be the spiral that we see from the head. That would be Aries. Then the spiral we see from the sexual organ. That would be motherfucking Scorpio. Same way. And then you got the opposite spiral. That's going in this way. Right? So check that out, right? Let's say this Venus. Venus rules the second house. Right? Boom, that's the throat chakra. So Venus loves to relate. So Venus will bring that communication to a lower chakra, aka the chakra that causes you to want to relate to another individual other than you. So if this Venus, right, and this the second house, and this is Taurus, right, and say Venus is on its own spiral, and has a masculine and feminine, right? So by default, if the spiral going this way, we'll tell you this area is right here, right? This is the half of your body. The half, the split in half, the bending, right? And what does that rule? That splits these houses from this houses. The 7th house. See what I'm saying? The motherfucking 7th house. So that's goddamn it, motherfucking what? Libra. See what I'm saying? And what's hanging after the 2nd house? What's hanging off the half of your body? Your sexual organs. So what came What came next? Scorpio. You get it? You see what I'm saying? So Venus doing that spiral. You could do that with all of them. You could do that with all of them. You could do that with Jupiter and Pisces. You know what I'm saying? They all got their own spiral. But one planet is doing a spiral like this. Well, ocean is spiraling like that. One ocean is spiraling like this. One ocean is spiraling like this. One ocean is spiraling. To the point that you got a full 360. You know what I'm saying? And your spirit, that's your solar system. And your spirit just goes swimming in that shit. So you swim through all your goddamn moods, all your egos, all your lights, all your chakras, all your currents, all your influences. And depending on how you feeling that day, aka what spirit, what pool, what ocean your chakra, your spirit is swimming in at the day, that's going to be the attention that you give off your influence. So if you wake up in a bad mood, 9 times out of 10, you in one of the lower chakras. So spiritually, those are the influences you giving off. People pick up a negative influence from you. And then I don't even want to get too deep into that, because let's just say lower and higher. Because right brain is lower. Right takes you down. Left takes you up. See what I'm saying? So that's y'all lost in direction, but because y'all been lost how to stand by being that taught y'all how to stand up right. But for the most part, what y'all think is right, that's really the lower chakras. And what y'all think is left, that's really the upper chakras. You see what I'm saying? So really, this is left, because you're supposed to be laying down like you're born. This is left. This is right. So this is why we got the eastern continents, Asia, Africa, all dealing with the head, and then we all Antarctica, getting down to the sexual organs of this being that we live in. And it's standing up, but since y'all got lost by a being within this being, and it taught y'all how to follow it taught y'all standing up right. So now y'all no longer laying down in the being we in. Y'all standing up. So now the being solar plexus, right, go over y'all head, because y'all always standing up, walking lost on your own direction. But if you was to lay down on this turf, on this star that you on, you will see the solar plexus go around you the same way it's going around the stomach of the being you in. So when you stand up, you need to know your solar plexus is going around you like this. See what I'm saying? This is why the sun stay there, and it rules Leo, and it rules your gut and your passion. So you need to understand that. And if you don't know how to look up in the sky and understand that, right, do your research on the ecliptic. So when you do your research on the ecliptic, you will see it's an ecliptic band. And you will see the sun doesn't leave the ecliptic band. right? So the ecliptic band is the being we live in, stomach. Same way your solar system is inside of you. So your solar plexus is inside of you. But if it's going around you like this, right? Your blood cells in you, if they've been taught how to stand up by a being that taught you how to stand up right, because you have, they're just mimicking you. So inside them, the solar plexus is going around you like this inside you. And to them, when they stand up and wake up in the morning and think they getting up and they lost, your solar plexus going over their head. So your stomach is the ecliptic band that they see. So when we, you know what I'm saying? Motherfucking ecliptic band right there. I said my shit poking out hard. That's why I had to do it, because once I start talking a lot, I got a lot of air coming out right now. So I gotta whoo. But for the most part, I gotta calm down so I don't get sick on y'all. I gotta go live tonight for y'all. Gotta go live. That's why I ain't do a video yesterday and shit. Well, that's what I get for doing videos before I'm 100%. But for the most part, I feel good. I feel good. Da-da-da-da-da-da. So when you go look up at the ecliptic, you're looking at the stomach. And look, in the constellation Aries through Pisces, those constellations is the skin, the blood cells, all the outer and the pores. And then when we look out of our ecliptic and equator, we're looking at other beings like Orion and all them and shit like that. And then they got the same system we got. This being we live in. See what I'm saying? But you got to be clear what you're looking at. So the solar plexus is going across the ecliptic, across the stomach. This is your ecliptic, motherfucker. Duh. And we're going to get into understanding how Mars and Venus and the alignment that they made created the Baphomet. And this is how we took that alignment and then understood. It was one point in time where y'all think it's I ain't even going to bring up no Bible right now like Star of David and shit like that. But there was a point in time where there was a six-pointed star in the sky, aka 6 planets aligning each other in a grand trine. One, you had 3 planets trining each other. Let's say the Sun, Venus, and Mars trining each other. Then you had the Moon, and let's say Jupiter and Saturn trining each other at a point in time. That made a six-pointed star in the sky. So for the most part, during that transit, during those influences that we picked up, we learned things like sex. We learned things like relating better. We learned things like relating in a more harmonious way, right? So we end up developing sciences and technologies and whatever we was engineering at the time was based upon those influences. This is how we get information. Transits and shit. I'm trying to get y'all to understand. So for the most part, that's where that came from. And you know, the more we start to dive into that 6 energy and get lost into the sex representation, sex became an evil thing. When people started doing everything that they backed and supported their whole life on someone else, on relating. And once that became a more dominant thing, that's when the Baphomet started becoming more dominant, and other beings started utilizing the imagery for their examples and stuff like that. So the 6-pointed star, you could draw that out to be a whole bunch of different things. But for the most part, it's all about how you utilizing the sex energy to manifest what you want to manifest in your life. But that's another video. But you know, damn, I got into some whole shit. I ain't even break down how the fuck y'all gonna break down how you know you're around low vibrational people. So, for the most part, spirit swimming. This is going to be the influence you give off to people. Now, this is how you know you around low vibrational people. They're spiritually swimming in their lower aspects. You see what I'm saying? They might be spiritually swimming in their lower aspects half of the time. So they're swimming in their 7th through 12th houses. They're swimming all the way from down here, all the way to the feet. So a lot of times, these are people who pay a lot of attention to logic. Pay a lot of attention to trying to make sense out of your circumstance or situation. Always trying to travel. Always trying to gain stability. Always trying to have sex. Always trying to manifest. You see what I'm saying? Always trying to communicate and relate their issues and problems. And a lot of times people don't understand. You could be in a good nature, but just because you're the type of person who always want to relate your issues or something like that to other people, you don't know that you're giving your problems and you're dumping that off to someone else. So keep that in mind. Also, when we talk about, ooh, this lemon juice got my mouth on 10 right now. But look, for the most part, yeah. Keep that in mind. This is when you know you're around a person who's vibrating very low. They pay a lot of attention to something. Remind you, anytime you're spiritually swimming, once you start to go deep, you're too deep into the water, too heavy, you washed up by the waves. So that'll play out in the 3rd dimension, like being around someone who give too much attention. I don't care what it is. They start to add too much logic to it, add too much emotions and feelings to it, aka too much of their attention go to it. So for the most part, this is how you know it's a person who's vibrating low. Now this brings us back to the beginning of the video, how to decipher. Because here's the thing, right? You can have a person who obtained a lot of high vibrational things into their lives, right? But they had to go through deep waters in order to obtain them. So this is a person who's vibrating very low, but they may be at a higher frequency vibrating in their life than you. So you in general may be just in a situation where your life is vibrating low. You could be the highest vibrational person ever, but the circumstance that you are in is a very low one. Then you could be around someone who's a low vibrational person, but the circumstance and situation that they are in is a high vibrational one. You see what I'm saying? Due to family, association, just what they done got themselves into by vibrating low. You know what I'm saying? It's just a lot of different ways. So I don't want people to always give a broad perspective or a broad justification amongst someone's circumstance. Everyone's circumstance is different. So you have to assess someone the way they are. You can't put someone in the box unless you done been through so many spiritual realms and you expanding and contracting so wide and you spiritually inclined and you in a space somewhere like where I'm at. So motherfucker, you could put someone in a box, but you know to yourself how to separate each person in a box. But if you low vibrational and you just trying to put everybody in a box, you in a box. You in a box just because you that type of person that do those type of things. You see what I'm saying? So it's everything is about angling. So the key is to not understand every angle. That's going to be impossible. The key is just to understand that everything is basically supported by angling. And what do I mean by that? Y'all got words like narratives, right? So when a person present a narrative, they're attacking something at an angle. So you have people who got high angles and low angles, or balance and mid-range angles. So a high angle is a person who can kind of create a narrative that your ass can't get out of. A low angle is a person who could create a narrative that, you know what I'm saying, that everybody could look at like that's surface level. That ain't really nothing too serious. You see what I'm saying? And then a mid-range narrative is like a mid-range angle. An angle that everybody could, it's up to you. You could resonate with it or not, but it's here or there. It can go in one ear and out the other type of shit. See what I'm saying? Now, here's the thing, right? Now, when we talk about angles, that's in this realm of reality. So, if a person got an angle, all angles could be anglized and redirected because it's an angle at the end of the day. Ain't no angle objective because it's an angle. So an angle is subjective by default. Ain't no angle objective. So I don't care how high an angle or how big a narrative someone place on you. At the end of the day, it's a narrative. At the end of the day, it's an angle. And once an angle is an angle, there's limitless of angles, billions of angles. You in a big ass broad space and spirit, motherfucker. So there's billions of angles. You see what I'm saying? So that's not the thing to understand all angles, because people will get lost in lights, angles, angels. You see what I'm saying? To the point that you'll get directed and start to think that you need to find an angle before presenting something. No, you need to just sit back and understand that there's just angles in general. So whatever angle get presented to you, whatever narrative get presented to you, you automatically know that there's a narrative that can combat it. There's an angle that can combat it. But once you get lost into thinking that you have to learn all the angles, you have to learn all narratives first, then you'll get lost into one narrative. You get lost into one angle. And you'll only be building sciences from them angles, so you'll be fighting angle with angle. But you still in that same space. You ain't go get an angle from somewhere else. If you know what I mean. I think I'm getting too deep. So for the most part, you just want to sit back and realize that, okay, there's angles in general. And then start developing your sciences and your spaceship and technologies on how to deflect angles, period. So therefore, you don't fight an angle with an angle. Therefore, you fight anyone who got an angle. And this puts you in a new space. I'm going loud tonight. Let me stop right now because, motherfuckers will take this goddamn shit and motherfucker remix this shit for they goddamn lower animalistic natures. And I don't need that. I don't need that because I ain't trying to attack nobody right now. But right now, I want my soul group. This is for my soul group. You know what I'm saying? And I want everybody to understand that, there's ways of doing everything in this realm of reality. And you need to know how to take yourself out of shit before fighting shit within shit. Take yourself out of it first, then fight it. You got more angling. You know what I'm saying? Then your angles, can't nobody fuck with your angles. And you don't even give a fuck about an angle or a narrative because of the space you in don't reside for one. It's not a yearning for one there because the space you in it's deep. But that's for all my deep spiritual people. All my deep who've been through spiritual travels, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. To the point that somebody come with you with a low ass egg or something. You just look at that shit like, should I even argue this? Like, you know, it's deep. Flight boss, bitch. Goddamn air.